Hi, everybody. So, I wanted to sum up the importance of the Deal With It movement for the PTSD community, for the narcissism survivor community, because I've made lots of videos about it. But I just want to sum it up in one video. The issue with traumatic stress, and specifically within the context of narcissistic relationships and sociopathic abuse, is that the main goal of these people is to destroy your vision, your identity, and what makes you you, what makes you want to get up in the morning, the things that you would like to live for. And each of those things are different for every person. You know, when children are born, some of them are born as artists and they love to draw, or some of them are born dancing or singing. For one reason or the other, each of us has like a proclivity when we're children or a soul, a certain spirit within us. Proclivity is the wrong word in this context, but basically, everybody is unique. Everybody has something to offer the world that will harmonize it, that will make it a better place to live in, whether it be through their own talent, or through giving, or through community service, whatever the case may be. And basically, these sociopathic narcissists are put on this earth in order to dissuade us from following our soul and from manifesting things in the world that can inspire people. And so, as it stands, therapies, traditional therapies for complex post-traumatic stress or post-traumatic stress are geared towards understanding what happened in the past, analyzing it, consolidating it in your mind. But I find that a lot of people that have gone through these experiences never transcend that understanding of something. If you understand your past, or if you understand what happened to you, and if you alleviate all of the symptoms of traumatic stress, there's a huge lurking question that remains unanswered for many survivors of narcissistic abuse, and that is, what now? What after all of this analysis, what now? And there's a tendency to try to go back again and again and again and refine our understanding of what happened. But the problem with that is that there's no progression, there's no soul progression, there's no individuation there, there's no following your dreams, there's no following a vision that is unique to you, that you were put on this earth to manifest, and only you really have access to. And so a lot of people end up looking, especially within this community, looking towards these narcissistic abuse survivor gurus as their surrogate parents, as their idols, as people that they appreciate. And it's all good and well and fair to appreciate people that helped you come out of a ditch. But the question is, how are you going to grow your garden that belongs only to you? And how are you going to have the courage to build upon the fertilizer, like I'm using John's quote, the fertilizer that was left over after the sociopath came to your life. And a lot of people need help with that. A lot of people need some sort of movement or direction or spiritual guidance when it comes to recreating their life. And a lot of life coaches take up that task. But if you always will come back to sociopathy and you define that as your identity, as a person that survived this and understands everything and so on and so forth, you will never have other facets within your life. You will never have flowers on the fertilizer. You will never have plants growing, and you're never going to be able to nurture anything. Not in terms of relationships, not in terms of work, not in terms of hobbies, not in terms of career paths, nothing. And so you think that you understanding all of this stuff is the be all and end all, but it's not. And we need to have a discussion about how the therapeutic community and how everybody that's trying to help people that have gone through sociopathic abuse or trauma of any sort, how do they rebuild? How do they rebuild? What do they need to focus on in their rebuilding? What kind of path do they need to follow in order to feel at peace with themselves in the world again and feel a sense of belongingness within the world? And this book attempts to do that. It basically it speaks to people that have figured out everything and have figured out the narcissist's manipulations and now just want to live. Now just want to live and be comfortable in their own skin and defend their territory and be comfortable with defending that territory. And inviting people in their lives that will make them grow, that will make them thrive. And I think that that's very important, because if there's anybody that deserves tools like this for personal growth, it's people that have been almost soul murdered. It's people that have this incredible void within their soul that they need to now refill in order to feel at peace. And we need to encourage this kind of discussion. And when I was watching an interview with John, he was talking to a radio host, and when he described his book, he said, when I posed this idea to the publishers or to people, they said, you're gonna lose followers if you go this route. You're gonna lose followers because his book requires you to take some sort of accountability for your future. And that's the main issue, is that if you've lost autonomy and if you're used to a loss of autonomy, the worst possible thing you can do, is not take accountability and to not analyze yourself. It all comes back to you in the end. It's like a boomerang. First it went to everybody else, to the narcissists, to people that support them, etc. But at the end of the day, it's on you to make this right in any way that you can and in any way that you want to, okay? The word want needs to be inserted into your life because it's been out of your life for so long. And when he was giving this interview, he said that a lot of people tell him that he may lose readers because he's being harsh on people that have trauma. He's forcing them to look at themselves. And he said, you know what? That's okay. I have nothing to say to people that want to remain in one place, that want to remain in a kind of perpetual slump when they can, with effort, try to get themselves out of this hole. And what he basically said, and the main theme of the book, is it's alright to dig. It's alright to dig and dig and dig and try to figure shit out. But at the end of the day, sometimes it's better to just take a shower. And what he's talking about is that the past can be reconfigured infinitely. It can be added to, it can be subtracted from. We can go into we can go into it from different angles indefinitely, and memories can be reconstructed. And we're going to remember things in the future that we now don't remember. And it's infinite. And that's why people with complex post-traumatic stress end up in a hole that they kind of start digging for themselves, because they feel that they will be completely stripped of any suffering if they continue to dig into the past. And while that may be true, while there are so many lessons in the past, and part of the reason why you have this disorder, if you want to say it, is so that you can go back to the past and find out what you've lost over there. There's only so much you can do before you end up at the center of the earth. You know what I mean? It's like you need to, at some point, take a shower, say, you know what, I'm tired. I've figured it all out. I've seen everything that's there. I've dug the deepest hole I could possibly dig to figure out what happened. I've analyzed everything. And now it's time for me to take a shower and smell good and look at the sun. That's the main message of this book. So I highly recommend it because it's a pioneering read. It's where therapy needs to go if we hope that to really, really recuperate from complex post-traumatic stress, traumatic stress, and to make the most of ourselves, and to make ourselves lights in the world, instead of people that see themselves as broken and who others see as broken. So I'm going to leave you with a metaphor that I actually saw in an anti-trafficking movie, documentary that John was in, and to me it encompasses where we need to go. And the quote was, "It is better to light a candle than to curse the darkness." And what that means is, the more candles you light, the brighter your light, the more you do in life for the better, for the betterment of humanity and for the betterment of yourself, because your soul is part of the human species. If your soul is light, then other souls will be lighter because you emit that light. And when you see light, you have to go towards it. And so keep lighting candles. Think about how you can bring light into the world. What are you going to do today? What are you going to bring to the table? That could be pursuing a certain hobby. That could be pursuing a certain spirituality that's not built on dominance, as we know. That could be volunteering at a dog shelter. That could be anything that you want, but you need to do something. Do something that will make your soul feel lighter. Light candles around yourself. Do things. If you can't do something about something, then it should not be at the forefront of your mind. Don't curse the darkness. Look for the light and create the light. And the more you light candles, the more the narcissist ultimately suffers if you have a need for revenge against them. Because they're sitting there and they're like, shit. They're lighting candles over there. The attention is not on me anymore. I'm burning from within because they're lighting candles. So I want you to think about that. And I'm actually thinking of getting that as a tattoo because it's a very good life motto. You can't build off of analyzing the blackness of life. You need to create change, and you need to create it. It all starts from you. Kisses.